Hello everyone, how's it going? I am WoWcrendor, and welcome to another episode of World of Crendor, where you email questions in to me at worldofcrendor@gmail.com. Nowhere else, or I will not answer them, only that email. So if you have a question, email it in there and it may get answered, okay? Okay. First question. Hey Crendor, how's it going? This is for the WoW section of your World of Crendor series. Recently I've started to notice something in WoW that I find unfair and completely appalling to a particular part of the WoW community. This is of course the PvP community in World of Warcraft. I am severely disappointed in Blizzard from their lack of PvP updates in the game and their focus being devoted to PvE in general. There has not been an original update for PvP since Isle of Conquest, and I refuse to account the Battle of Gilneas and Twin Peaks as legitimate updates for PvP, since they are just revamping old content like 4.1 Rise of the Zandalari, or however you spell it. Another huge problem I have is that Blizzard simply keeps giving us the same gear with a new name and higher stats so that we can grind for another 3 months to get full top tier again. Meanwhile, I see that Raiders having fun fighting gigantic dragons with Thrall. What are your thoughts, opinions, and feelings on Blizzard's favoritism? Sincerely, Bloodknot. Well, first off, your grammar is really bad. Like, you need to pay attention in English class more, because, yeah. You have a lot of mistakes and errors, and, okay, we're just gonna talk about grammar for a brief second. When people on the internet are all like, I don't have to talk in correct grammar, this is the internet. Well, technically you don't have to, but if you don't want to sound like you're retarded, then you should probably type correctly and use correct grammar. Granted, you listen to me, so you're not retarded at all. Yeah, okay. Okay, anyway, let's answer the question, which is, PvP updates are lacking, and he says there has not been an original update for PvP since Isle of Conquest, which you could argue that Cataclysm brought in more PvP updates, but I think he means like an actual patch that brings in PvP content, which I would probably agree with. And I refuse to account since they're revamping old content. Oh, that's what he means. So he's saying he wants a new PvP thing, which I've talked about before. I've brought up ideas like having PvP in world zones, except having it like instanced and having it made just for PvP, almost like what they did with the Caverns of Time for instances. And I don't think you would do like a bunch of those, maybe like Tar and Mill and Crossroads. Like, that would be really cool if they did that. And I think you would also have to have something new, but it would need to be like groundbreaking PvP new, like arenas or something, or like what LoL did with Dominion. Like, it has to be totally different from what's already there, and hopefully they'll do that in the new expansion. That'd be really cool. But as for lacking PvP updates, I would say that they do favor PvE somewhat, and I think it's because it's easier to balance PvP or PvE than it is PvP, because PvP, you always face the problem of like if you nerf someone, they like drop really low. If you buff someone, they go up really high, or like there's constant changing. While PvE is a lot more easy to balance because you're just focusing it on like teamwork and getting a boss down, and it's a lot easier to do that than it is PvP. Unless, I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong. This is just my opinion, but this is my logical opinion from like looking at things. Like, don't take anything I say as like completely factual, because it is all opinion based. This is me like answering questions. This is just my opinion on these questions. There's people that are like, wow, Crendor, you're wrong. Like, okay, then just give your opinion in the comments. If you disagree with me, put it in the comments, because this is not a factual thing at all. We're making that clear right now, because that has been commented on many a times in comments. So yeah, I think we answered that question. Oh, and you also say that Blizzard simply keeps giving us the same gear with a new name and higher stats. That's just MMOs. That's really just MMOs. Like, that's the whole point, is you do stuff, you get better gear, you do more stuff, you get better gear, and you just keep doing that. And that's all expansions are. It just adds more stuff so you get better gear. Like, that's the whole point of the game. So, when you really break it down, that's all it is. And that's all people, like, well, that's not all people play for, but that's like the main thing people focus on, is to be like the best and have the best gear and stuff. But in all honesty, your gear is going to get replaced the next expansion, like, or the next patch, if you will. But that's the game. Okay. Next question. Hello, Crendor. My question is about the introduction of certain features in the new expansion Cataclysm, such as flying in Azeroth. I was watching a Guild Wars 2 preview video, and in it he explained about the scale of areas being stripped away as you introduce flying. Now, I am a world PvP fanatic. As you and most know, it has declined enormously and still is. Our guild attempted to revive this in Tol Barad, and it worked wonders. Why? Well, the sole reason that there is no flying, nowhere to run. Everywhere you go, you are forced to make contact with other players and interact. Anyway, as I fly over zones, I always gaze at how amazing they have become, and yet I feel bored. Though, a few mates and I jump on our ground mounts, have a laugh over Skype, and enjoy zones as they were meant to be experienced, giving a sense of pride and appreciation for being in such an amazing game, things that many have seemed to lost. And Blizzard get such heat for there being no content. It seems such a shame that has gone unnoticed. I would like to hear your opinion of this, Swiss. Well, once again, I need to, like, start a segment of videos where I just, like, teach people grammar and English. Because, I'd say a good 90% of the questions I get aren't typed very correctly. Maybe not 90%, probably like 75%. That's a better number. There's some form of grammatical errors in them. Okay, enough about my grammatical OCD. You're pretty much talking about the zones are empty because of flying. That's the main focus I see here, and that is pretty much one of the biggest problems with flying, is that nobody needs to, like, go through the zone on foot unless you're questing or something. And one of the big things in old WoW was that there was no flying, so everyone had to run around everywhere, and you had mounts, but they're just ground mounts. And I think flying, it's good and bad, because honestly, well, even flying, like, where do you have to fly to? Like, you have to fly to your raid. Like, you don't even have to fly anymore. You just sit in Orgrimmar and you queue up for stuff, and there you go. That's like, that's all you do. So the main problems here are everyone just sits in Orgrimmar because you don't have to leave. The only time you have to leave is to go, like, find your raid instance or quest or something, and that's it. That's literally all you have to do. Or maybe, like, get up archaeology or something, or professions. But even, like, fishing, you don't have to leave Orgrimmar for that anymore either. You just sit there and fish in the same spot and level it up, which I think is stupid. I liked when you had to go around and actually fish in different locations. Like, that's not being hardcore, that's just, like, it's logical. Like, oh, if I want to get my fishing higher, I have to go to higher fishing zones. Like, I don't get why they got rid of that. That seems like we're going from, like, 4th grader down to, like, kindergarten. Like, I don't know. They need to do something that adds more, what's the word? What is the word I am looking for? It's like content. They just need more, not content, I don't know. They need something that makes you want to go out and explore the world again, which, that's another problem, is everybody's already seen Azeroth. It's like, oh, 4 new zones or whatever, like, and then you quest through them, so you see them there. So nobody really cares about, like, going out and exploring the world, because it's not new. It's like, oh, it's slightly rehashed. But hopefully, new expansion, they will change a bunch of things, and that would be awesome. And if not, it'll make me a sad panda. Get it? Mr. Pandaria probably was gonna be, you know what I'm saying. Okay. Now time for the LoL question. Hey Crendor, I have recently noticed that people keep leaving while a game is running, and I was wondering, why not give the Leavers team a minor buff, like Tenacity buff in Wintergrass back in Wrath? That way the Leavers team still have a chance to win. What is your standing on this idea? I think that is a good idea, because there are many times where your teammate will leave and it's 5v4 and then your team just gives up because it's like, oh, no chance to win. Granted, I have been on teams that have been the 4 and won because we're just better at working as a team than the other team, but if the other team knows what they're doing, you're screwed. So I think that is a good idea, but it can't be like abused or something. Like, they can't have someone leave and get the buff and then they come back in and it's like still there. Like, it has to just be like a minor buff and like 5%, is that a lot? I don't know, maybe. But it has to be minor and it has to like somehow give your team that slight edge that they're missing if they would have had a teammate. And that allows them to stay in the game or potentially win. And then when the person, if they like DC'd, if they come back in, it has to like get rid of it right away because you obviously can't have that still there. But honestly, I think it's a pretty good idea. And not much else to say on it. I think it's a good idea. What do you guys think? Comment below on that. And now for the first random question. Dear Crendor, this question is for your random section of your World of Crendor video. I noticed you play a large number of games and do videos for a lot of them. I myself play lots of games but cannot make consistent content for those games because I have to break away from one game to another. For example, I just quit Call of Duty and started playing WoW again. I was making vids at one time for both, but I had to stop because I couldn't find the time to play them as dedicated as a YouTuber should be. I was wondering how you find time to play all these games and still make videos for them in the amount that you do. Keep in mind, I do understand I'll gain an extra 7 hours of game time when school is done. Well, that's already part of it, is that I don't go to school. I finished high school a while ago, and I went to college, and then I dropped out because I didn't really find anything I wanted to do. Like, all the things that you could do, I was like, I don't want to do any of these things. And then I found YouTube, and now YouTube is my job. So, yeah, that's part of the reason I can make all these videos, like daily videos. As for the games I play, I mainly play games because, or I play different games other than WoW just because you have to branch out somewhat, because just in case, like, WoW dies, which, you know, it's not going to, like, die, per se, but, it'll gradually over time, it'll get less and less popular, and you need to branch out your horizons. And the mistake people make is they get popular for like one thing, and sometimes they can move on to other stuff and it works well, but a lot of times they shy away from what made them really popular. Like, if I just stop making WoW videos, I'm like, I'm gonna make other content, people would be like, wow, this is stupid. Like, you have to stick with what you're good at and what you really like, and then I kind of have the other stuff as like side dishes. Like, the World of Warcraft is my main dish that I serve you, and then all the other stuff is like side dishes. But anyway, I'm kind of getting away from the main point here, which is, how do you find time to play all these games and make videos? I don't play games like really hardcore. Like, I kind of play every game casually, and then I make videos in the majority of the time I make videos, because this is my job, so, yeah, it's my job. But another thing I get asked all the time is like about Let's Plays, and they're like, wow, you must talk all the time in real life because you talk all the time in Let's Plays. And it's like, no, the whole point of making a good Let's Play is you talk. Like, if you listen to radio or just any type of commentary, if you hear silence for like more than 5 seconds, it's gonna get weird because you're like, why is nobody talking? Why is nobody talking? So you have to constantly talk. It doesn't even matter what you say, just constantly say what you're thinking, and that's how you make a good Let's Play. And why am I telling you this? I don't know. Maybe you guys want to know about Let's Plays. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay. And the final question. Hey Crendor, this is a question for your random section of your World of Crendor videos. I was just wondering who your favorite YouTuber is besides yourself and people you know personally. Mine would be, besides you, probably Tobuscus. Thanks, Jim Pickens. I like that name, Pickens. Okay, but my favorite YouTubers would probably be Total Biscuit, because I've listened to him for a long time. I listened to him before he was like that popular, like 5 years ago. I remember maybe even like 6 years ago. 'Cause he was on WoW Radio, and that's how I found out. And I was like, wow, this British guy was really funny, and I like to listen to him rant. And he had the show Blue Please, and that was his main thing, was he did that. And it was nowhere as big as he was now, but I really enjoyed listening to him back then. So now to see him get really popular is awesome. And I kind of felt like he would get popular because he has that like radio, very entertaining personality with his voice and commentating and all that. So I like listening to him. And my other YouTube, I do watch daily vlog people like Charles Trippy. I like Charles Trippy. What else? I like Smosh. I think a lot of people like Smosh, but they're probably my favorite sketch people. And yeah, there's probably a few others I haven't thought of, but those are the main ones. And that's it for this episode of World of Crendor, and there won't be one next week because I'm going to be at BlizzCon. So that'll be awesome, and I'm going to be vlogging a lot of it. And if you didn't know, I do have a vlog channel. I've had a vlog channel for 1.5 years, so if you are a true fan and you're just like, what do you look like? Like, I've been vlogging for 1.5 years, so how do you not know about this? I'll put a link to it right now, and I'm gonna be making a bunch of like BlizzCon videos. I'm also gonna make how to win at BlizzCon, so that'll be fun. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Or you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. You can also like this video, favorite, subscribe, do all those things. Yeah. But anyway, you can still email questions at worldofcrendor@gmail.com, because there will be a World of Crendor the following week, so we're just gonna have a bunch of questions to pick from, so put in good questions, okay? Okay. See ya!